Tim Abray from the Department of Political Studies at Queen's University joins me now to take a closer look at how this all played out. Good morning, Tim. Good to see you again. So this was an expected...
Good morning.
Good morning. So this was unexpected win for Doug Ford, as we have been saying in our conversations past. What do you make of how he ran his campaign? That, confident, not really taking a lot of media questions and just kind of riding the course?
Yeah, I think he had a pretty easy time of it, to be honest. I think that they knew exactly the kind of campaign to run. They ran it. They knew that they had a base of popularity going out there, which meant they just simply needed to maintain things, not make mistakes, not say things people didn't want to hear. And given that Doug Ford didn't say much of anything of substance through the campaign, he simply acted as the provincial cheerleader, it was difficult for him to make those sorts of mistakes. And the opposition let him. The opposition didn't do a lot to try and draw attention to the record. In fact, at times it was interesting, like during the leaders' debate, they seemed to avoid some of the stickier issues or let him off the hook before they even pinned him down. So it was overall a fairly low contact campaign, and I think that does nothing but benefit Ford.
That is true, but in most elections, there is an incumbent advantage, and I would think that phenomenon is particularly highlighted here in the province of Ontario. We've seen it in elections past, Dalton McGuinty, others. Do you think this was a case of Ford simply staying out of the spotlight and kind of knowing that and honing that to his advantage?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that people are very distracted right now. You know, they're focused on the fundamentals. They're focused on staying at work, keeping their jobs, keeping the mortgage paid, keeping the bills up. And I think that absolutely plays to an incumbent's advantage when it comes election time. But we had a very serious issue with turnout in this election, and I think that there's a lot to be said there.
Let's talk about that then, Tim. Voter turnout was painfully low, estimated at about 43%. What do you think happened there?
Yeah, well, I think that we all have a role to play in that, to be honest. We've been telling people from the start that this was a slam dunk for Ford, that he's been leading in the polls all the way through, that it's a fait accompli. And I think when you tell people that, you're telling them that there isn't really a race to pay attention to. And I think that's something we're going to have to look at very, very carefully. That the coverage of elections, present company accepted, the coverage of elections over the last decade, 2 decades, has slowly slipped towards mostly horse race. And I think that was really true of this contest, that we talked a lot about the polls, we talked a lot about the inevitability of certain races, and I think that does a lot to bring down people's attention, to leave people thinking that they can pay attention to other things and that there isn't much point in participating. And that will always play into the hand of an incumbent. But in this case, I think it absolutely did, because we saw turnout at an all-time low by a long shot. I mean, the next closest one was 48% back in 2011. And this is probably going to come in a good 4% below that.
So I'd like to spend some time obviously talking about the, I don't want to say the biggest losers, but definitely it was a bitter night for the NDP and the Liberal Party. Both Andrea Horwath and Stephen Del Duca resigned. Where do these parties go from here? How do they rebuild?
Yeah, I think from scratch, to be honest. I think that this is an absolute repudiation of standard election tactics. Things have changed. People have become quite busy. Attention spans, as we've been talking about for a long time, unless you really capture people's attention, you're only going to have it for fleeting moments. Social media is a very important element in campaigns these days. And unless you get your message across succinctly and quickly, people are going to move on. And I think these two parties, the Liberals and the NDP, pursued the age-old strategy of let the incumbent make mistakes and then capitalize on them. The problem is that the Conservatives didn't make many mistakes because they weren't really visible during the campaign. Their candidates didn't show up to debates. Their leader played the safe game in the debate that he did participate in. They didn't really do a lot in front of random crowds. It was all very controlled for the Conservatives. And so waiting for someone to make a mistake who isn't really even on the ice most of the time is probably a very large mistake. And I think that they need to really seriously rethink their strategies. They are tired, they are old, and if they have any hope of getting traction with Ontario voters, they're going to have to work hard at it.
Yeah, lots of hard work for all of the parties ahead, including the PC, now that they have their mandate to carry out. But thank you, Tim. Once again, folks, that is Tim Abray, teaching fellow in the Political Science Department at Queen's University. Have a great day.